Okay, so welcome to today's Thursday 30. I'm delighted to have Ruby from Inspiration with us this afternoon. She's going to give us a rundown of Inspiration and what that can do for our learners that we're working with. If you do have questions, then you can pop them into the chat as we go along, and then I think Ruby's got some time allowed at the end for answering those questions. So I'll hand straight over to you, Ruby. Thank you.
Brill. Thank you, Mary. Thank you everyone for joining. I know my name says Riza on here. I've logged into my bosses accidentally. My name is Ruby. I from our company is Technology, but we are the publishers of Inspiration. So Inspiration is known by many working in education and assistive technology. It's been around for 36 years, so it's definitely a tried and tested method of kind of visual thinking, visual learning. I know we're limited for time today, so just to say, I'll show you some of the key features and uses, but if you have any questions or you want a bit more of a deep dive afterwards, there'll be a QR code at the end that I'll show with contact information, one-to-one training, if you want a free license, things like that. Then we can sort that all out at the end. But as Mary said, if you want to ask any questions as we go, please pop them in the chat or just take off your mic and we can do them as we go, or ask me at the end, whichever you prefer. Okay, let me start sharing. So I'm going to jump straight into the software, so I can straight away start showing you some of the features and uses as we go. So, oops, sorry, jumping around. Okay, so for any of you who haven't heard of Inspiration before, it's a visual thinking tool, mind mapping tool, any of those kind of terms that you hear that hopefully it kind of encompasses all of those. It allows users to kind of get their ideas down nice and easily and then organize them and visually communicate them, and it really breaks down that process for them. So they can create mind maps, graphic organizers, any of those, again, those terms that we hear that really encompass those visual diagrams, but also outlines and presentations as well. So it's great for any users who benefit from this non-linear, really creative way of thinking and learning. So the number of potential uses and users are endless. I've added some examples to the diagram, but I'm sure in your roles you can all think of many more. So using it as a teaching aid, I'm hoping I've got time at the end to show you a case study. It's just a short little video with an SEN advisor who talks about using Inspiration as a teaching aid in small classes. So whether that be using it to demonstrate information to students, or whether that's kind of using it as a class activity and having students all contribute to this diagram as well. For presentation planning and delivery, you can actually build presentations within Inspiration, note-taking and writing, organising and structuring ideas, really breaking down this process. So first of all, just getting those ideas down, not worrying about how they're linking up, where they're going to fit into the end product, but then using that as a second step to organise and structure those and start seeing the relationships between different ideas. You can use it for task management and, of course, for memory retention as well. So, you know, we'd love it if our users keep coming back to their diagrams, they're adding to them, or they're using them for different projects. But even just the act of creating that diagram and having those visual elements can be really beneficial for memory retention as well. So it can be particularly beneficial for users who are essentially non-linear and visual thinkers. We know your students aren't short of creative ideas, so the idea is that they can really reflect those creative ideas that they have in their mind down onto the screen in a way that really makes sense for them. This is the diagram view that we're working in here. So this is really flexible. You can place things exactly where you like. You can start adding in lots of visual elements, and as I start showing you the features, you'll see these. Add in lots of visual elements and really, as I say, reflect what's in your brain down onto the screen. Great for users who have any sort of anxiety approaching tasks, especially written tasks. So they can break it down, as I said, first of all, getting those ideas down onto the screen, then organising them, adding in these links and showing the relationships between different ideas, expanding on them, adding the visual elements, and then they can move into our outline view, which I'll show you as well. Those who need extended recovery breaks, you might want to go away and then come back and be able to jump straight back in and see visually where they left off. if they have difficulty remaining focused and they just need to be able to get those ideas down nice and quickly before they move on. And for those with short-term memory and processing challenges as well. So let's start showing you some features and really jump into it. So I'll show you lots of our popular features, and in Inspiration you'll see it's all really about adding those text cues or audio verbal cues alongside your visual cues, and using these in combination with each other to really strengthen our memory of and our knowledge that we're putting down here. You know, we don't remember whole paragraphs of text or even sentences, but what we do remember are those keywords. We remember visual elements, images, color coding, and we remember the relationships between those ideas. So hopefully I'm going to demonstrate that to you all now. So one of our most popular features is the rapid fire tool. So you'll see, hopefully you're seeing that this is quite a simple software to work in. So up here are your main features that you're going to need. We have our floating symbols palette to add in images when we want, and down the bottom we've got lots of our formatting tools for making it look a certain way. So up here we're going to turn on our rapid fire tool. Now I can choose to do that with or without links. You might want to do it without links if you're not quite sure where you want ideas to link up with one another yet, but I'm going to do it with links now, so just to get them all fired off from this popular features symbol that we have here. So I'm simply going to type an idea, click enter. You'll see I've got my lightning bolt there, and you'll see that it's creating symbols for me from my symbol that I'm attaching them to. Excuse me, I'm not great at talking and typing at the same time, but we'll just get a few ideas down. And outline. Okay, so it's getting all my ideas down. I just pressed escape just to shut it off there, or I can click the rapid fire tool again to turn it off. So let's just spread them out so we can see them all nice here. Fabulous, and we'll go through these one at a time. So as I just used my rapid fire tool, as you could see, if I just quickly show you it without links, you'll see that an idea just goes floating off into the space, and we can think about that one later, and we might see something about where it could fit, and we can start linking it up as we go. We might decide that we want to link it to this idea here, and then you can see that not only has my theming been applied, which I can show you that in a moment, but I've got my link here with a box. So I can add in a linking phrase. If I right click in this, then I've got lots of linking phrases to choose from, commonly used linking phrases, or I could type in my own. So let's just use one of these for now, and then we can really start to show the relationships between ideas. So this is really beneficial for that. So you can see here I've got down those keywords and phrases. Like I said, we're not really using full sentences or anything like that, but it's just those ideas so that we can remember them, and we can spark off that further ideas, and it can spark off those further sentences that we might want to write. Onto each of these symbols we can add a note. So up here I've got my notes tool, and these can include up to 8 A4 pages of text. So if we're working towards a written project, for example, or we just want to get down a bit of further information, then here is where I can add in further information. So these notes, they can open and close, and you've got that little symbol attached to it that I can open and close there. And that's really where we're going to expand on those. We can also add audio notes. If I right click and go to insert video or sound, and I'm going to record sound, then you can see my little record button comes up here. If I start clicking that, it's recording me now, and I can say about how these audio notes are limited to 60 seconds, as we like to encourage our users to be succinct in what they're going to say in these audio notes, because they're also more likely to listen back to it then. So I can stop that, we can save it or cancel it off there, and you can see there an audio note has also been attached. I'll just zoom in so you can see that a bit better. Audio note is also there. Okay. So we've got our ideas down, we've started expanding on them using our notes and our audio notes. Now what about our visual cues? So you can see that I've already applied a theme here. So this is one of our recent additions to Inspiration this year. Down the bottom here I've got a themes button, and previously you would have had to select symbols kind of one by one, or drag over them and then select colours, and of course you can still do that and you can change that if you like. Or now we've got these really nice themes where it can just slap on that colour, and it can be really beneficial for adding that colour coding. So not only does it ease visual stress, but it also organises information into these different colour categories, and it can engage visual learners a lot easier, and therefore really help with memory retention again as well. It can also help stop procrastination, because I know in the previous version I would spend a lot of time making it look pretty instead of it actually being a beneficial visual tool. I was just making it look nice, going through changing the colour of each of the symbols, and now I can just slap on this theme and it can help with the colour coding. So there's lots of different options there too. Another way to add visual cues, actually I will just say here as well that you can change the background colour. So I could just did a right click there and you've got background colour, and again another way of easing visual stress, just to get rid of that white, I've just popped a background colour on there. Okay, so another way of adding a visual cue is using our symbols. So we've got this floating symbols palette here, and it's all broken down into different ideas. We've had lots of new ones added to it to try and update it. They're broken down into different libraries, so there's tons of different uses. It's really worth looking through to find ones that might be relevant. You can use search words as well to try and find ones if there are particular ones that you might be looking for. But just to give you an idea, there's lots of cool like animal ones here as well. I was speaking to some teachers at another event who were using these ones to teach English as a second language, which was quite a cool idea. But lots of different ones there, definitely worth looking through. And one of our new favourite ones are the emoticon ones. So these are cool. If you click on a symbol and then you click on one of these images here, then that then takes over the symbol. And if you were to apply a theme again at this point, then it won't take away that, it's taken away my background colour, oops, but it won't take away the symbols. So if you've taken the time to really think about a symbol that would be beneficial to you, then applying a theme, applying that colour coding won't take that away. Fabulous. So this really helps with kind of comprehension, and it helps with memory retention as well. Having this colour coding, we might remember that, okay, in the top right corner we had the blue section and blue meant this at the time, or okay, this particular image that I used over here. So you can drag and drop them in as well, and that, like I said, there's lots to choose from. You can also import your own images. So if you go up to edit and go to insert graphic, then you can pick an image from your desktop that you can add into. Great, so we've really quickly, nice and quickly, as you've seen, we've got down some ideas, expanded on them, and we've added in some of those visual cues. Now, I just wanted to show you as well. So this, as I've said, this is our diagram view, but it's great that we can toggle between this and our outline view. So up in the top left corner, you'll see an outline button, and this can take me to a nice structured outline. So anything I did in that visual view, diagram view, is also reflected over here in outline. So again, I'll just zoom in to show you a bit further. So you'll see this nice structured hierarchy. You'll see how my notes have been added, and any of those connecting words that I put to show between my different ideas. I've also got this feature on, if this is a nice little toggle button where it can show my symbols. So with the particular symbols that I've used, this adds that visual element to this outline, which can be really beneficial. These are kind of act as kind of color-coded bullet points at this stage. So these are great, and this is a nice structured area where you can continue to work, and obviously you can move towards a written project. So lots of our users like to do a bit of that kind of brain dump in the visual view, get their ideas down, and then they can move over here and start. They can realise, first of all, how many ideas they actually had to work towards that written project, but they can also start structuring it and moving things around and expanding on their ideas here too. So hopefully, again, a nice kind kind of intuitive way to work. You can drag and drop these different ideas. You can move them up and down the hierarchy using the left and right buttons, and you can keep expanding on those ideas as well using our notes. A popular tool from here is to use our transfer tool, and you can transfer it out to a Word document or copy to clipboard and then paste it into Google Docs or OneNote or whatever might be useful. But you'll see anything I did here is now also reflected in the diagram view. So you'll see that this topic now is coming off of this one, and my note has been added as well. So fantastic way to be able to go back and forth between the two, depending on what the need is. As well as this, these two views, we've also got a map view. So I've opened an example up here, but this is our dedicated mind mapping environment. So when you open up the mind map, I'll just open up a new one so you can see. It will look like this, and it just gives you that bit of a kind of starting point where you can put your central idea in and you've got the branches ready to go. So this is more what we would traditionally imagine as a mind map, where each topic only has one parent topic. But this example that I've got here is one from hopefully the case study that I'm going to show you in a moment, that Helen Simon, who did the case study, who's an SEN advisory teacher, she used this with some younger students to help them with packing their bag for school each day. So it really gave them that kind of authority and responsibility over themselves to be able to do this and to stay organised as well. So a nice one that's kind of nice and simple, but it really can be effective for certain students. So if I just jump, I should say as well that this view also does link up with your outline view. So this one isn't as formatted, but you can see, and we've got the tick box function on there as well. So that's nice for if it's a list. What have I done? I've crashed it. Apologies. Let me open that back up. Didn't like me jumping between them all. Okay, fab. It covered it. Okay, so back into my diagram, just a couple more things I quickly wanted to show you, and one was the arrange tool. So as I said, most of the tools you're going to need are up here, so you can add hyperlinks and other things like that. But a really useful one is the arrange tool. If I just go to more, you can see all of the different options. So this is our preview window here. You can see how you can arrange your diagram into a tree, and there's lots of different functionality. So tree diagrams to the left, to the right, and how it will be balanced, the spacing, all that sort of stuff. A split tree, a web, but just to show you this. So this can be really useful for certain projects, or if the student just likes it in this particular format, but really beneficial for kind of timelines or things like that. We have lots of users who like to create family trees, so this can be a nice beneficial feature for them there as well. If you don't like it, you can just always return back to what you did previously. And then kind of the final feature that I wanted to show you of how you can use this information. So hopefully you've seen how you can pop in information into Inspiration and really use it as a diagram, a map, in an outline as well, transfer it out to Word, Google Docs and things, but you can also create a presentation. So up in the right hand corner, you'll see we've got a presentation button there. I can pick a theme for my slides. Let's do this fun stripy one, and some formatting there as well. But you'll see how Inspiration has created slides for me from the content that I put into it. So those first level topics have been put into a contents page, and then the others have been pushed out into different slides. I've even got my audio note there. And if you created hyperlinks or anything, those would be taken over as well. And then over on the right, you can see how Inspiration's created some snapshots for me. So those that were used as visual, these elements that were used as visual cues for myself, it's gone a bit funny there actually, I have to go back. But you can create your own. So if I go back here, I think when it crashed, it went a bit funny. I apologize. Let's go back here. Okay, you get the idea. And Normally this would be a bit neater. I don't know why it's gone a bit funny, but you can add in these images so that those visual cues that I had when I was creating this diagram, if I was then presenting this, they then act as visual cues for me when I'm presenting it. And they obviously, they make the presentation more interesting for the user as well. Fabulous. So that's kind of shown you some of the main features of inspiration. If there's any more that you want to see, if you have any questions about any of them, please let me know. As I said, that was a real quick kind of whistle-stop tour of inspiration and the main features. I just wanted to share with you these couple of slides. If I open them up, I'll share with you this. I'm just going to stop sharing and then reshare to make sure that I've got my audio on. But I want to share with you this case study that I said about. It's with Helen Simon. So she's a specialist SEN advisor, and she works with lots of children who have brain injuries and autism. So it was really interesting to get her point of view on how she's been using inspiration. Okay, fabulous. Okay, thanks for your patience. Okay, hopefully you can hear this when I press play.
Yeah, my name is Helen Simon. I'm an SEN advisory teacher with specific interest in working with children with challenges in education. I don't like to say difficulties, but challenges, which can be anything from a physical challenge, a mental challenge. I work with children with hearing, sight, and brain injury challenges, and work with children with dyslexia and dyspraxia. So it's right across the board. My thing is to try and get assistive technology into the classroom to support those children. So the challenges are less noticeable, that they can work on a level playing field with their peers. And I'm a great believer in what you try and teach a child through assistive technology, they can take with them into adulthood. So most of the technology I use, I call future-proof it. So it enables children to have something for life. Like you teach them to write with a pen. In many cases, some of the children I work with will never write with a pen, but they can use their voice or their eyes or a keyboard. And it has exactly the same powerful message. It's a route to communication and enables them to learn lifelong learning skills. What's been really interesting, I've got inspiration into primary schools, which has been really, really interesting. And I've got two students, both with acquired brain injury, with co issues with dyslexia and dyspraxia and other issues, and particularly autism. And the mind mapping in primary school works very well because it fits in very well with their curriculum. I've given it to the teachers to have on their system, and they actually use the mind map as a whole class activity. So it's worked really well with the student who it's designed for. And so as the whole class is working on that mind map, it's been brilliant because they all feel included, the student feels included, and the staff love it. And when the child moves up into the next year, they say, well, can we keep it? But no, as a class tool, as well as an individual tool, it works for it. So I think having it as early as possible really works well. And certainly from about year 3, year 4 upwards, those mind maps have really supported some children with some quite severe challenges. And then also before they go to secondary school in year 6, it's worked really well, particularly when you've got children with a big therapy team around them, and all the therapists can then feed into that mind map, and all the therapists can work together, and then the children and the parents all know what's coming next and what's happening.
Okay, thank you. There's also a write-up alongside that case study, which is worth looking at on our website. Finally, just want to share this slide. So if you do want a free license for assessment, demonstration or training purposes, then you can scan the QR code and fill out the form, and we can get that over to you. I think some of you have it already. Others of you might have an old version, but please just get in touch and we can get that to you. If you want any training or pricing, anything like that, let us know. But hopefully that wasn't too overwhelming. I know there's lots of features within inspiration. And hopefully you could see that you don't need to use all of them to create an efficient mind map. You can just, get the main ones there. It's a nice intuitive piece of software, and can be really effective, as Helen was talking about there. I don't think we have any questions. If anyone wants to ask anything, please do.
Yeah, that was lovely. Thank you ever so much for that presentation. I know there's so much in the programme that it can do, so it's hard to fit it all into that sort of condensed amount of time, isn't it?
Yeah, we have to pick and choose.
Yeah, but a very good overview there. Thank you. Anyone on the call have any questions? You can either type them into the box or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. Yeah, Bear has said thank you, Ruby.
Thanks, Bear.
I know we've got lots of CENMAC students who are using the software already, and we find it very useful.
Fab.
Okay. Any other questions?
I know you're recording the session as well, so hopefully others can get in contact if they need to. Sorry about that slight technical glitch as well. Of course, that's going to happen when I'm live. There's
always a technical issue when you're presenting something live, isn't there? But yeah, that was lovely. Thank you. And a couple of people saying thank you in the chat, and just they'll be in touch for more information from you.
That's fab. Thank you so much for joining as well. I've always enjoyed doing these.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, Mary. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.